Joining us now exclusively to react to this and much more, Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson of Louisiana. Mr. Speaker, thank you for being with us. First, reports were that they ganged up on you yesterday. Joe Biden, Mitch McConnell, and Chuck Schumer. Any truth to that?
Well, the reports were pretty accurate. They said that I was on an island by myself, and it was me versus everyone else in the room. What the liberal media doesn't understand, Sean, is that if you're here in Washington and you're described as a leader that's on an island by themselves, it probably means you're standing with the American people. And that's what I did yesterday. I reminded the president and all involved that the number one issue in America is that open border, the catastrophe that we have, that President Biden himself designed, that he caused and created. And I told him, just as I have many times before, he must address it with his executive authority. We can't wait any longer.
My understanding is you're referring to this as a process CR. This would be the fourth continuing resolution. In Washington, these bills, the appropriations bills, should have been done by October 1, as you know. Apparently, 6 of them are expected to be done by March 8th and another 6 by, I believe, March 22nd. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you have faith and confidence that finally those appropriations will get done?
Yeah, it's been a fight, Sean. It's taken a long time. We broke the omnibus fever in Washington, where the Democrats, usually in the Senate, would jam the House right before Christmas every year with, 4,000-page piece of legislation that spends, over $1.5 trillion. That's no way to run a railroad. So what we did was we broke this up so that we could actually amend and negotiate and fight for policy initiatives on 12 separate appropriations bills. We've done that. We've got an agreement now, and now they'll be passed in 2 packages because, as you noted, the calendar's run out. But this was an important thing. We have got to break the cycle and the way Washington works. We got to reform budgeting and spending, and we're going to have an opportunity to do that going forward because we had this hard fight right now.
There are 2 big issues I know that are on the minds of conservatives and many Republicans, and that is the issue of Joe Biden's wide open borders, nearly 10 million illegal immigrants. Former top FBI officials have described this, their words, as an invasion of military-age men. We have described the countries we know they're coming from. Iran, #1 state sponsor of terror, their satellite country, Syria. Egypt, home of the Muslim Brotherhood. Afghanistan, home of al-Qaeda. Our top geopolitical foe, China, tens and tens of thousands from there, and 10,000 plus from Russia, our #2 geopolitical foe. Is anything going to be done, any part of this deal going to deal with the issue of Joe Biden's wide open borders?
We never stopped working on it. We passed H.R. 2 almost a year ago now. Chuck Schumer's let it sit on the desk collecting dust. We'll continue to push it, every piece of it, every initiative. Because, listen, now the catastrophe is having real-world consequences around the country, as you know. Violent crimes, brutal murders, Lake and Riley and others that, even in my home state of Louisiana, aggravated rape this past week by illegal aliens because Joe Biden is catching them and releasing them into the country. And it's caused an absolute catastrophic effect, and it will continue, Sean, sadly. So we have to push. The president has the executive authority to fix it right now. I told him at the White House yesterday, one-on-one, and in the group, I told him, Mr. President, if you just issue an executive order that reinstates remain in Mexico, sir, the Border Patrol, the own Border Patrol, your agents told us it would reduce the flow by 70%, almost overnight, because the message would go out throughout the world. Don't waste your life savings on a cartel. They're not going to be able to get you over the line. Stay where you are. Stay in Mexico. Stay in a safe third country. He won't do it, Sean. He told me that he didn't have the authority to do that. I said, that's just simply not true. President Trump did it. Why can't you do it? He said, oh, Mexico doesn't want that. Well, you're the president of the United States. You should act like it.
Well, in the first 100 days, he rescinded all the Trump policies that had actually secured the border, and the result has been devastating to the country. We saw what happened to this nursing student in Georgia. I mean, this should not happen. And my biggest fear is, have terrorist cells, because many of these illegal immigrants are unvetted from some of our top geopolitical foes. What do you think the odds are that there are terror cells that are in this country as a result of Joe Biden's policies, plotting, planning, and scheming another 9/11 or worse against the American people? I'd say the odds are 100%, but I pray to God I'm wrong, but I don't think I am.
There's no question about it. This is a very, very dangerous time, and we've allowed that to continue. You've got, I think there may be 15 million illegals who've come across that border since Joe Biden took office. You know, President Trump had there was such a distinction between these two leaders. You know, he built the wall, he deported criminals, and he seized fentanyl. Joe Biden has done exactly the opposite of all of it. We see the effects, and America can't stand for this any longer.
Yeah, by the way, give you a lot of credit. I'm not sure how well I would do in a meeting with Joe Biden, the Vice President Harris, Chucky Schumer, and Mitch McConnell. Not a great position to be in, but we will watch carefully. These are consequential times, Mr. Speaker. We need leadership. We definitely need a united Republican Party, something we discussed from day one. We appreciate your time, sir. Thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.